was more like this, like the other thought. But after that, so oh, so I'm not gonna tell her how I hurt my leg. Carol. Yeah, well,
Have one of those, didn't have to be glad it was no witnesses.
yeah, because it was on the deck that I think, I mean, trying to replace a design that we do. And I'll make it missing forward. And then this half body went down, this half went this way. I knocked that on me. And it happened. I'm okay. Silent. Yeah.
All right. Work session for the ARB is underway. First project is 227 Orchard Avenue. Any comment from the board? Comments from me?
I thought it looked good, but the columns, I thought making those columns smaller wasn't as nice as the 1 foot columns that she had before.
I agree, and that elimination of that box beam kind of creates a notched out looking beam that it just appears a little awkward. But, you know, I mean, generally it's fine, but
Yeah.
some tweaking might be in order.
I agree, that box beam is weird how it goes up and.
Yeah.
It stated that it was to enhance the view from the house to the patio. And it just doesn't seem like that few inches of box beam would be blocking much view of anything except siding. So maybe there's something I'm not understanding here.
True.
So.
About 8 inches probably. 10 inches.
Mhm.
Okay, moving on to the next one, 406 West Jackson Road. Comments from the board?
Oh, I just had one little minor comment on this. I actually, overall, I like it, but let's see. I can find it. Not that big a deal. On the proposed front elevation, they have that little gable in there over that is, it's actually in that porch area.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like it doesn't need to be there. Like the rest of the house doesn't have that kind of thing. I don't, it just doesn't seem, like you don't want to announce the window or something. I don't know. Doesn't make that much difference necessarily. I just thought the general vocabulary of the building doesn't have that,
Mhm.
but if the rest of it matches so well, I mean, the rest of it makes it look like it was always there in that one little spot. It doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree. It was kind of a difficult design to pull off with the shape of the modifications and making it meld nicely with the architecture that's there. And generally speaking, I think it was a really nice job with that, doing that. My only tweak would be that that shed roof that is on the new front porch looks a little dominant to the smaller roof that it's connecting to. Maybe if that slope could be lowered a little bit, so the shed joins the adjacent roof a little bit lower on the slope and maybe pull in the side of the shed a little bit so it doesn't intersect that hip rafter. As just a minor comment. Generally speaking, I think it's very nicely done.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe that's even the little gables. The idea would be to break it up a little bit, but lowering the shed, I think would be kind of nice. Like it hits at that corner of the
Yeah,
hip
It does.
and it's like, it wants to be down. a
Yeah,
little,
just
make it
down a little bit and in a little bit. So
Yeah.
there's more of a space there.
Easier.
Yeah, and it makes it more subordinate to the adjacent roof.
And it wouldn't need to be much.
No, just a little bit,
Yeah.
just
then it would
tweaks. Yeah.
Easier right there, yeah.
It wouldn't have that awkward.
Yeah.
section right there.
Right.
That far corner.
So pull that. But yeah, it's a nice design overall. It's nice.
The left proposed elevation has a note, says alternate bend and roof, so I don't know if that was, if there might be something changing there or not. That was my only real comment. And the other comment was more on the garage. The garage is really small, so I don't know if they're planning on using that for a car, but it's gonna be pretty narrow.
A lot of equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay. 555 Baker is pre-approved, so we'll move to 1132 Pine Tree Lane. Any comments on that?
I just thought it might be nice if we could add a window at the rear elevation in the master bedroom. And then maybe at the side elevation in the living room, just to help break up those large walls that they've got.
I have those same comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a similar comment and then, well, I think that was just, two sides. Everything else looks fine to me.
Roof line on the side. It's that right here,
Yeah,
but I don't know what else you-
it's functional.
Right. It's not, well,
It's already difficult and
Yeah.
this doesn't make it easier. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I think, yeah, what else would you do with it?
right.
Yeah.
Not ideal, but it works.
Yeah. All right. No other comments there. We can move on to the next on the list, which is 780 Tuxedo Boulevard. Did we get a new set of?
Yeah,
Plan.
they
this
dropped
one?
off a revision, it looks like.
Yeah, the master, the mudroom got, not mudroom, master closet's got windows on the front porch, change its roof lines.
Mm,
Yeah, that was one of my comments, because the mudroom, they're transom windows, so they're probably above the cut plane of the plan, but they weren't showing up in the plan, but we're in the elevation, so I just want to make sure that they were there. And then I saw they added a column base and capital to the front columns, which I think helps kind of finish it off a little bit more.
mhm.
Yeah, I like the changes. I think it looks nice.
Yeah, I did too. Looks nice. A lot of windows.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Windows in the kitchen.
I know. I liked that they did that. They worked those in.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think I just had a question about roofing material. Originally, it looked like I wasn't sure about the porch roof. Is it called out on the new?
Yeah.
Okay,
Architectural asphalt.
I see that on the news. Seemed like with that low of a slope, I wasn't sure. Typically, you wouldn't be putting shingles on that low of a slope.
Did pre-approve it?
I'd be okay with that. Anyone else?
I'm fine with that.
No
I'm okay.
objections? Yeah. Okay, then we can move 780 Tuxedo to pre from preliminary to pre-approved.
As resubmitted, I guess.
Yeah, once we get to the meeting. Okay. Next, we have 224 Oak Tree Drive. New house preliminary.
That's a lot of house. And there was no associated FAR request for this ever, was there?
I think so.
Looks like there should be.
It just seems like a lot of house. It's just-
There's no notes about the exterior materials. I mean, it's graphically, I can understand it, but it's not really called out. On the left-hand side elevation. Oh, the brick at the front just ends. We see the end of the brick. I don't know if we want to try to turn, if there's something else we can do there, just so that you're not seeing the end of a veneer.
Yeah, I agree. That's
Oh,
brick.
I see.
They need to turn it, especially
Yeah.
on such a, it's a very large house. It should be a little bit more grand than
Yeah.
having
Just stop this
Yeah.
corner.
dock
Yeah.
like that. I was also wondering exactly what the materials are. I
Mhm.
mean, even if it's a little obvious, it's not completely
Yeah.
obvious.
Yeah.
'Cause-
But also on the, I'll call it the right-hand side of the house where the garage one, the brick returns to the closest jamb of the garage door and looks kind of odd in elevation. Wondering if that brick can return over the head of the door and return into the inside corner of this return right here. You see how it, rather than stopping there, just return it there and
Yeah,
die into that inside corner.
yeah, that would be a good solution to go all the way around. That would be
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, like.
Yeah,
That's a good
that's a
idea.
good solution. Be nice to just do something else with the left side, have a little more
Yeah.
variation.
That's right here, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just sort of, it's a lot of siding.
Yeah.
Even,
Mhm.
I mean, even adding. It's a large building, so even like the board and batten, I assume that's what it is, not. You know, maybe make the whole second floor pieces board and batten or something, I don't know. Something,
Oh, you're saying from the border, from the, what do you call that? What do you-
well, yeah, like up here.
The band
put
board?
some board and
Yeah,
batten, I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
know.
something different, maybe.
Maybe that's too much, I don't know. But
I think pulling that brick around the corner will help. And I agree that it's a lot of siding, but it does help that the windows are fairly symmetrically placed and spaced out a little bit, so it isn't exceedingly blank, but
Mhm.
yeah, that's true. I guess if the brick is pulled around about the width of like the front column,
Mhm.
maybe.
Mhm.
I think that would help.
Yeah.
That would help kind of fill that space up a bit.
Yeah, that would add a element over there. There are, again, there's a lot of windows here, fair number anyway, so it's like the rear has a lot. Shelves.
That'll be a nice kitchen with that upper lantern of lights. Be
Mhm.
nice. I never heard of a keeping room before. A
Yeah.
keeping room.
Like a new.
Yeah.
New term, I think.
I think it's an old term. that's
Oh, maybe
new.
it's, okay.
Yeah,
It's new for me, but
It's
maybe
a,
it's been around for a while.
it's a,
I think that's
came
like
back.
an old historical thing, the keeping room.
Yeah.
Yeah, they used to have like kind of the middle of the house where there was like fireplaces and it was really warm and they'd have like the small children and stuff. in there.
Oh.
All right, next then we can move on to 820 Marshall Avenue, also a preliminary new house.
Well, this is the big set. Okay. I think I had.
Big sheets are hard to handle, but it's
know.
very legible. You know, there's not a lot of fine print. That helps.
Oh,
I don't need my cheaters.
that's right, it's this, isn't it?
I just had a note for the left side, maybe
Yeah.
you could use more windows. And then the columns at the rear look kind of skinny. I think there's 6 by 6, and maybe we bump those up to 8 by 8 to match the front.
I have similar comments and then also, I think it would be helpful to add even a small window on the rear into that walk-in closet in the bath, just to break up that area of siding.
Oh, yeah, I had the same skinny comment.
Yeah.
Tracy, you said increase the size of the columns at the rear?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not a big fan of the double front door personally, but seems kind of out of proportion. It's kind of neither way for me, but you know. The house isn't that open.
You can't do the dramatic, welcome to.
Yeah. Oh, let's see that.
Yeah, I think my comments were limited to the walk-in closet, left and rear windows. Just thinking from the outside, and inside. All right, so that takes care of our list for the work session. And then I know we have that additional project, but that's for afterwards. So at this point, we can take a recess. We'll pause until 5:30. Anyone online will start back up at 5:30. Just hang on, and in person as well. Thank you. All right, welcome everyone. We just finished our work session, so the official meeting will begin. We have Yolanda Wilkins and Travis Ham to my right with the city. Sarah Richardson, who's our council liaison, is online. Introduce Carol Dunkey and Tracy Collins to my right, Angela Thompson and David Yates, and myself, Bob Buckman. We are all volunteer architects sitting on the board. First item of business is approval of minutes from January 4th. And I believe 4 of us are present for that. So with that, can I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to approve the January 4th meeting minutes as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Right, meeting minutes from January 4th are approved as written. Next, we have a couple of approvals. First one is 555 Baker Avenue. May I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to approve 555 Baker Avenue as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? All right, so if you're here for 555 Baker or online, your project has been approved and you're good to go. We also have one more pre-approval. We're going to move 780 Tuxedo Boulevard from preliminary to vote, pre-approved. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve 780 Tuxedo Boulevard as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Yeah.
Should we
Based on
add
the-
in, that's based on the elevations received this evening, since there were revisions, maybe?
Yeah, the revised drawings.
Sorry, yes.
All right, so let's redo the motion.
Do you want me to do it again?
Sure.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve 780 Tuxedo Boulevard based on the drawings received today.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? All right, so 780 Tuxedo Boulevard is also approved, so if you're here, you're free to go on that one. Next, if we call out your project, we'll ask you if you're in person to come up to the microphone and introduce yourself. We'll discuss your project. And if you're online, to raise your Zoom hand and Yolanda will add you to the screen. First one is 227 Orchard Avenue. Is there anyone here for that one?
Hello, this is Tim Toll on the screen, if you can hear me.
Yes, we can. Welcome, Tim.
Jenny Gasso.
Welcome, Jenny. All right, comments from the board on 227 Orchard.
I just had one comment on the columns on the back. I thought that the 1-foot columns you had looked nicer than the
Right.
skinnier 8-inch columns, but
Yeah, so we were in construction, and we got a stop work order, not a stop work order, but we needed to, come back to you because there were some field changes. So these drawings are reflecting those field changes.
okay.
Yeah, so that's where we are with this.
Yeah.
I believe the columns were reduced mainly because of cost. I think we're trying to get the price of the project down. So that was the design decision in the field. I don't know, Tim, you probably could speak to this more because you were working with the contractor with it, sort of what your vantage point is.
Yeah, I guess that's, Jenny, you're right. We certainly are trying to continue to provide a quality product and one that matches Webster, still very well. It just, I know the original design was, with the intent of trying to match the front of the house. They're two pretty separate spaces since it's in the back. There's not really a point where you're ever going to see the two together. So the idea was to just try to continue to build a great product that still looks great, but also to just be budget conscious, which is difficult to do these days. So, but that was the intent.
Okay, any other comments from the board?
There was the comment about the site, the east facing elevation with the header across the opening
Yeah.
jumping up. with-
Yeah, there was a decision to remove the box beam that was running across the front so that the owners could have a better view into the patio from inside the house, and it just raised that up some, so that was something that was removed to sort of accommodate that view.
I'm trying to picture in my mind how removing this much of that beam would enhance a view. Could you elaborate on that a little bit for us? Either
I
you or
can, Jenny.
Tim?
Yeah, I can. It's a matter of elevation of the house relative to the drop in elevation to the project. So the garage and the patio are just at a lower elevation. So it's really twofold. It's the east view, really the west view from the kitchen and the dining. It looks great, with the fireplace and the construction design the way that it is. And so if you remove the 13 inches that are there in the design originally as it stands today, you can basically see the majority of the patio. If you put that 13 inches back in, it eliminates quite a bit of that view. Is it the worst thing to do so? No, but it's just a really nice, more open, airy feel when you're in the patio, as well as when you're looking and viewing into the patio. So I realize that the elevation, or I guess what the side, not sure what they're called, piers. They're not piers, but the side, both the north and south sides are roughly 13 inches lower. Considering it faces east to the home, there's not really an obstruction, or I guess, a visual impairment for anyone else. We just like the view. I think it's a great view from the home and also in the patio, looking out.
Thank you. I can see that there is a drop of elevation there. It just doesn't seem like it seems like what you are viewing now is like more siding and a little bit of stone. So, but thank you for the explanation.
You're welcome.
All right, any further comments? I think that was it. From the board, so this is a public hearing. Is there anyone else present or online that wants to make a comment about 227 Orchard Avenue? Seeing no one, may I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to approve 227 Orchard Avenue as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? All right, Tim and Jenny, you're approved.
Thank you all very much. Have a good evening.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You as well. Next, we have 406 West Jackson Road. Anyone present for that one?
Gary Borrow, the Clinton Bar Architect.
Welcome, Gary.
Hi. Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
It's been a while, hasn't it, Gary? We were one of my teachers.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
More than that. Okay, let's give me a question.
All right, there were a few questions. I'll let the board members address them.
All right.
Angela?
Okay, so I guess my question, I really like the design overall, the general thing, it really fits, the addition fits very
Thank
well
you.
with the existing home. But then there's the little gable over, sort of over that window on the front elevation.
Okay.
And that, so, and it kind of goes along with another comment of the roof line there. you could maybe just adjust that a bit. Um,
Okay, our argument is on that. Typically, when we do house additions, we take sort of a pair of scissors, cut this off and put it there. If you look at this structure, this front, there's a high degree of symmetry. That large bay, which is quite beautiful and very symmetrical. On the appendage, typically what you do, if the appendage was too long, you would also add that same sense of balance, same symmetry. So what we did is we took a pair of scissors, cut off the bay, and put this little false bay above the window to create centrality. If you look at the old existing appendage, it wasn't quite that long, but this newer is long enough where it needs to have its own identity. And that's why we did that. So, and the owner likes it, so we feel strongly that this is what we'd like to do. That's my argument.
Okay, thank you for that. Is that porch open underneath?
Yeah, it's a
Right.
porch. It's a neat sitting porch, which
Right.
this building lacks. They can sit on the front porch and look at the cars.
Right, so to me, when we were discussing that, I was just thinking, about how all that's gonna look from the underside, so it'll be exposed beams and tongue and groove and.
There'll be exposed joists in there, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
This place to put a couple chairs and
Mhm.
I guess I think, I still feel a little like, so what does that look like? That's just a fascia board there?
well,
Is
if
it-
you walk up close, it looks funny, but if you see it from the street, I think it's a strong appeal. And our choice was to, the house is beautiful from the street. and that was our feeling on that.
Yeah, I guess I still feel it's just a little bit out of place.
No, aesthetics are subjective, so,
Yeah, well, to some degree.
yeah.
Yeah, I think because we have this central gable element here over the bay, I think picking up that little bit of gable there on the new porch roof, since we've already got this nice gable here, picking that up there, for me, that's okay. I get the point of doing that.
Yeah,
And
That was our hope.
typically they kind of mirror each other just at a smaller scale, which I think is fine. And my only tweak on this one would be just to maybe drop that shed roof a little bit so it doesn't intersect right at the hip there. And so there's a little more roof on showing. So the shed is just a little bit more subordinate to the roof that it butts into.
Let me respond to that.
Sure.
It's a good point. If you look at the left, I don't know my north to my south. So the left elevation,
Mhm.
we hesitate to go below. This is a 412 pitch,
Yeah,
plus minus. We hesitate to go below that. What we'll have to do is frame the garage first with trusses so that we will have established that line, and then we will build frame to that line. We'll try to stay within 412, but we can go a little bit below that. 312, I think, is too flat. I don't think it won't run water well as well.
Mhm.
I agree absolutely that, 312 would be too flat. I think it would
We'll be
look,
somewhere in the middle, I think.
yeah, I think that would look out of character, but I'm talking about just moving it down just a shade,
We could move it down maybe 6 inches, get 3'6", something like that.
I think that would, for me, that would work, just to have that
And
not intersect right on that hip rafter.
that's possible, and that we'll put 3'6" plus minus. And then he'll adjust that in the field depending on where that ridge works out. These are as-built drawings. And we could be 4, 5, 6 inches out of when you do as-bills, especially with an old house like this. So we go with 3'6", that should lower it at about 6 inches. We just want to find that edge and stay short of it.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
if everybody agrees, we can even read it into the motion that it'll be field
Yeah,
adjusted.
we'll do a 3'6" plus minus.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay.
that seems reasonable.
Yeah, I think it looks great.
And then the other thing is, it was kind of a mistake to be alternate. I could not make my mind up. This roof has two planes like this, but it's curved.
Mhm.
And I wanted to talk with the contractor to see if he would even do that. And I doubt that he would anyway. I think we'll just, well, what, I think this next best thing is to go with two planes and not do the curvature. And there's so much stuff in this elevation, this, left elevation, I don't think it would be that noticeable. There's a lot of things going on in there.
Mm-hmm.
5, 6 bays and several roof lines.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen these roofs framed before, and it's just the main rafter with a sub rafter at an angle.
Yeah, exactly.
And
then
then,
put a
and
little
then,
curved
and then,
piece in.
and then when the OSB goes down,
Yeah,
it curves naturally. when
yeah.
you
Back
screw it.
then they used little 1x2s.
Well, right. But I'm saying that if you just use one sheet of OSB,
But
it'll curve.
it's in such a small area and it's so complicated
Mm-hmm.
that, I think I should have just said, not called it, I wanted to make an alternate where we could get a price for curving it, but I know, Krebs, I've worked with him 30 years, he's a builder, he was just, you know what he would say. So I think I was foolish to put that in. But I think it's really feasible to do this sort of thing.
Yeah, the two-plane
Yeah,
roof
we'll go
with or without the curve.
we'll go with the truss and we'll have a possibly framed to the truss, the piece here, but not have a little curve in there. That-
Right, it'll still be a double slope.
Yeah, it's still, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's fine. That's done a lot.
Okay, that is-
Yeah, it's done a lot.
No, I think that's good. All right, and I do see we have Rebecca online. Rebecca, do you want to make any comments about anything?
No, I don't have any comments. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, I think that was all on our list, Gary, so thank you. With that, I think we're ready for a motion on 406 West Jackson Road.
I'll make a motion to approve 406 West Jackson Road with the understanding that the new shed roof slope will be lowered. So the end of the shed does not intersect the hip rafter.
We'll push it back.
Yeah, and that will be field determined at a slope plus or minus.
We'll build the garage first, that way we'll have that bridge. And we'll just go back 6 inches or whatever it takes for the 3/6 pitch.
Okay, and we'll keep it at a pitch that's approximately 3.5.
3.5.
Yeah, I think that would work fine, yeah.
Appreciate your
Second.
comments.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. You are approved, Gary and Rebecca. Thank you. Moving on to the next one, we have 1132 Pine Tree Lane. Anyone here present for that one?
Hey, good evening, everybody.
Hello. Good evening.
My name is Patrick. I'm the homeowner. My contractor told me about an hour ago he has COVID, so he's not able to be here today.
Oh,
So
dear.
I
Okay.
will field your questions to the best of my ability.
Well, we wish him well.
So do I.
Yeah. All right. I think there were just a couple of questions about considering adding windows to the east elevation at the master.
Mhm.
and or possibly a window on the south. Were those, any, I don't know if you saw those comments ahead of time, but when you were designing your addition, did you give some consideration to that master bedroom east side, especially the east side, because that's where the sun
My first comment.
would rise, yeah.
Definitely, agreed, without objection.
Okay. So add a window to the east side, and then I don't know, on the south side, I forget what's over there.
I think it's the north side. of the
Oh, I'm sorry,
living-
north side.
Living room.
Yeah, that was just more of, well, it says south on the south view, but it's
Oh,
actually the
the
north.
North arrow on the plan might be wrong.
Any consideration to that, adding a window there, I think is really the question.
Yes, there will be a window added there.
Okay. And we'll assume those will be double hung, same size, scale, it looks like everything else is.
Yes, sir.
All right. Any other comments from the board? All right, well, it looks like you're gonna get a lot of new needed space, I'm sure.
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. With that, can I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to approve 1132 Pine Tree Lane with the clarification that 2 windows are to be added. 1 window will be added to the rear in the master bedroom, and 1 window will be added to the side in the living room.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, you're approved and good to go.
Thank you, everybody.
You bet. You're welcome. All right. Next on our list, we have 224 Oak Tree Drive, 224 Oak Tree Drive. It's been a long day.
Roger Betluck, I'm the builder, so
Welcome, Roger.
happy to answer any questions y'all have. I think one of the things I got was to start was some of the materials. So if I
Yeah.
can give you these.
It's all hardy.
Thank you.
And then there's a combination of white and red brick. And this will help answer a few questions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right.
And I can go through like where those materials are on the house, because I know
Sure,
black
if-
and white's kind of hard to figure out what's where.
Yeah, if you don't mind to start with the front.
So on the front, you can kind of tell where the lap siding is and where the
Mm-hmm.
board and batten siding is. The brick is white painted brick on the right and left sides,
Mm-hmm.
where there's the triple window for the side of the garage and then the double window for the master closet. And then the column bases, those are white brick with the top section there of red brick. So there's red on top of the white painted brick. And then the porch, the front of the porch, and then the steps coming down from the front porch, those are the red brick. So there's a combination of white painted brick and then the red brick that's, unpainted. So there's a little change in contrast there. The roof is black. The shed roof over the bump out there for the garage, that's black metal. That's the same thing that's on the back porch cover. So that's the black metal. And then you've got black windows and black gutters.
So why not just use some sort of siding or something that wouldn't need to be repainted? So the brick is going to need to be repainted.
Right.
Why would you do that?
Trying to get a combination between the red and the white to kind of give it, sort of some interest. And I know I hear that a lot about why paint the brick white, but I think it does help bring it into the neighborhood too, because a lot of older houses get painted. And-
unfortunately.
Pardon?
Unfortunately, they get painted.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's kind of a maintenance problem to me. Brick isn't, you don't have to worry about painting it and so forth. Is this for someone or is this
We have, we're working with a buyer right now, so they
So,
haven't signed the
okay.
contract yet. But we're working with a family, and they've just got a lot of kids, so there's a lot of things we're still trying to work through with them, so.
It just seems like, to me, well, for one thing, the board is supposed to be colorblind, but when, if you offer that up, I think, to Angela's point, how would you know, what if it was all just red brick and then you decide to paint it later? I think I would rather hear
why not
that.
just use siding?
Or some
I
other
don't understand why
material,
not just
because,
use siding.
right, because I mean, I get your point, because it just seems like that would be a lot of expense if you're just gonna paint it. If you could get contrast some other way,
Well,
less
I
expensive.
mean, they do make buff colored and white colored brick. That's naturally the clay color
Right.
that can be done rather than paint. Because I mean, it's gonna be it's gonna be a maintenance nightmare. in the
Well, you don't
future.
get the black and white house thing going then,
Mhm.
I know that.
Well, I mean, you go.
You
with
know
like
what I'm
a- like
talking
a
about.
Right, but like, or you even go, with a glazed brick that's a white colored.
Right.
Yeah.
glaze.
Well, that's what we're showing on that is a white brick, but
It's gonna actually be a glazed
planning
brick.
on painting it. We were
Yeah.
illustrating it here just to show the
Right.
general idea, because we can't show a white painted brick.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know.
Understood.
if you could source a brick that's already naturally white.
And that's
or-
what this is here on that sheet.
Yeah.
That is a white brick.
Oh, for illustration purposes, but you were going to paint that afterward.
Yes.
Got it.
I know painted brick is very fashionable right now. You see it everywhere, unfortunately, and from practical purposes, it makes no sense to me to take a non-maintenance surface like brick and turn it into a maintenance issue. It's going to need to be repainted
In a few
probably
years.
every 10 years, and it's going to look shabby before that. So I really think that in terms of quality of product and as far as a non-maintenance item, just going to a naturally white brick, if you feel strongly that you want the two colors that would it would enhance the quality and the appearance and reduce the maintenance.
I mean, I'm certainly open to that because we do want the contrast.
Yeah.
So, and that's why we're trying to get that brick around the porch to kind of give, and then the stairs coming down from the porch to give it something other than just all white.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can appreciate that aesthetic. I just,
understand what you're all saying.
It seems
I understand.
kinder to your project and our planet and the budget eventually to just skip the paint on the brick.
I understand where you're all coming from. So,
Yeah.
So it's a fad. So it's the painted brick, you said that about the old houses that are painted. Well, you can also look around town and how many of them had paint and now the brick is just clearly had been painted and now looks whitewashed or whatever.
yeah.
So it's going to go away, right? It's just the black and white house is already going away.
Right.
So, it's kind of like, it's a little bit of I guess I think of it as an expense. I like throwing the red in there. I think that's really nice to have that in there, especially it's a good sized house here. But it's
I
just,
follow what you're saying. I'm not gonna, even though I'm the builder and we've worked on this with the designer and the architect, I'm open to making adjustments. So I'm not against anything that any one of you all said. Okay.
Mhm.
So I just want you to know that.
Yeah. I think just some other comments, if we could get to them. And I think the rest of the materials are pretty clear then, because it's basically siding around the backs and sides. We were discussing about the brick returns. Could you consider returning some of that brick on the left side, sort of like you did on the garage side? That was one of the discussions that we were having, that, have this grand house and just have that brick to stop, seems
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I understand 100% what you're saying, and typically we like to return them onto the sides. I guess it would work between the separation board for the first floor, second floor.
Yeah.
If we came back, a couple feet.
Yeah.
Well, like the width of the columns at the front, well, I don't know if what the brick colors will be, but it doesn't make that much difference, but kind of, that, so that it's just sort of similar to those
All right.
columns up at the
The
front.
column should be about 24 inches. The base column
Yeah,
should be
yeah.
24 about square. So we could come back an equal amount to whatever the column bases are.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
nice.
And also on the garage side, the brick stopping at the jamb of the garage door is kind of odd. Wonder
Yeah,
if
take it all the way to the other side of that garage door.
other side, and then possibly that 4 or 5 foot return back to the inside corner.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there.
Just, stopping brick at the inside corner is so much more appealing than an outside corner.
Well, especially with a house this size, I think then that forward mass then reads, like the front of the house. There was something I forgot to ask earlier. Oh, when you were talking about materials, what's the plan for the exposed foundation? Because you have some shown on the front and it kind of turns a corner. Most of it looks like you have the siding is covering it. So
Yeah.
I'm not really,
Yeah, the siding will be brought down to within 8 inches of the ground. The,
yeah,
illustration on this, I guess that would be the east. This first window probably, it's really going to depend on the grading there. And I think, we'll bring the siding down in that separation board, along the grade of the yard. So we won't have virtually any exposed foundation.
okay.
So we'll cover over the foundation with the siding.
Then I think as I was just making my way around the elevation. So if you're going to return the brick on the left side, then you would want to step that brick on the front so that there's no exposed foundation there, if you see that.
Yeah.
And then when you get to the back, the only other area is the porch on the back. It looks like you've got an area of that foundation showing there. Would you adjust the grade or maybe finish the concrete somewhere so it looks a little more finished? That's just a question I forgot to ask.
That actually is covered with a retaining wall for a planter box.
Oh,
So there won't be, we're not gonna
Okay.
have exposed foundation.
gotcha.
That won't show up maybe till the site plan.
I see.
If that site plan should be in,
Yeah, there's a site plan.
so on
Covered
the side
porch.
of that porch there is what you just were referring to.
Yeah, I
correct?
see it. It's not, the elevation doesn't show what the site's showing. I see. Thank you. All right. What else did we have on the list? Anyone?
I appreciate all the windows you have that are in there.
Pardon?
I appreciate all the windows that are
Yeah,
there.
yeah, the windows that wrap around in the upper level in the kitchen and the keeping room, I think it's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah, fantastic.
I think it's gonna be real cool.
I think it will be too.
On the inside, it's gonna be even cooler than the outside, but I think it's gonna look really cool.
Yeah, well, yeah, the exposed girder trusses in the kitchen and all that to me. Pretty
The
cool.
exposed trusses
Yeah,
on the,
in the kitchen, in that pop-up area,
we've got
or not.
so many different options with like, different kinds of beams to go up towards the clerestory up there. So again, we're working with a family that lives near this house and they're very interested in it, but they've got a big family and it's a lot of questions. So it's
Mhm.
gonna take a while.
What about guard railings at the front porch? What's your thought on that infill?
We should be close enough to grade that we won't
Okay.
need guardrails.
I couldn't tell with the front elevation
On the left side.
on the left side. I mean, that's fantastic if you don't have any.
We won't have any because we're constrained on how high we can go out of the ground because of the left and right neighbors. So we will be close to grade. We'll probably have two steps, maybe 3 off the front porch here, depending on how long we make them. you know, deep wise.
Yeah.
It should show that correctly on the drawing, just to let you know. That should be shown correctly, because like, if you're gonna need, right now you would need handrails.
We,
and
we
you
do
are-
not need handrails.
I know, but the way it's drawn,
Right.
you're way up high,
Oh, especially on the left side.
Yeah.
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 Exactly.
4 steps up, so.
You have 30 inches you can max out at.
Yeah, I
Before
follow
going.
what you're saying. Yeah, the grade comes more parallel to the front porch. You know,
Got it.
it doesn't have this drop off.
Yeah.
So that's our error. Apologize.
That's fine. Just let, you
But-
know, when you do it, make sure it's,
Brings questions we don't
Yeah.
want to bring up, so.
Right. I think for us, I mean, just making these comments on a preliminary, and it sounds like, you know, we've talked through a few things, so pretty straightforward.
There's just one item that I just noticed and I wanted to mention to you. This is such a grand house. I mean, it's beautiful. Would you consider making those stairs approaching it wider?
Mm,
Because it seems quite narrow for such a
Yeah.
grand entry and such a grand house. Just make, you
Let me
know,
just double check the,
pull these steps wider.
I had a similar thought, Carol, too. I'm
that
glad
would
you
be
brought that
nice.
up. I mean,
If you
if it,
can.
if it's peer to peer, that's great, but even if it's slightly wider than it is.
Yeah, I just, you know, you having a big party or something and you're walking in there.
No,
with
I
that
agree.
Row of ducks, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
I agree.
Yeah.
I
So,
agree. We
yeah.
should go from the side light to side light on the
Yeah.
side of the front door.
Yeah.
I would think, yeah.
We should be that wide. So
Yeah.
that would be,
Even the side light to side light, or even if you wanted to go peer to peer, I think that would be really
Yeah.
pretty too.
Either of those.
column to column is what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The column to the
Yeah, like-
column.
Yeah,
Actually, I
Right there
kind of
would be
like that
nice,
because
especially
it
if it's just
doesn't
like two.
kind of clip off.
yeah,
If you know, just kind of
Yeah.
widen it
yeah.
to the column
Mhm.
base, I think that would look great. Yeah, I can tell a lot of thought and energy has been put into this. It's looking really good.
Without a section through the front gables, you're showing those little dentiles or little projections on the fascia, then you've got some what look like exposed brackets or
Those corbels or brackets. yeah.
corbels. Yeah, I was just curious, how far out? What's the relief from the fascia to the wall? Is it like a 4, 6, 8 inch, 12 inch?
That's so the depth of the corbels, I don't have a number for that. So I mean, we can, when we source those, get specific on that. You're just wanting them to not come all the way out to the rake board. You want them to be within the depth of the soffit so that the soffit's not completely covered with them.
Yeah, I'm just sort of curious of what they look like.
Style wise too.
Yeah, I mean, just,
We try and keep things very simple looking.
Yeah.
For lack of a better, you know, without a lot of scrolls and things. So they'd be more of a triangular shape.
okay. Yeah, and then the projection from the fascia to the side, and that's kind of what I was getting. trying to
Right,
get a
that's what I
sense of.
thought. And so we wouldn't want them to be the full 16 inches or whatever that fascia is. They'll be half of that, something
Okay.
like.
Yeah, if the eaves are 16, you said, they would be roughly half that.
That's typical. Let me,
Okay. Yeah, I just happened to see those and was curious. There's a thought there. Half the distance to the fascia, we could say. All right, I don't really have anything else. I feel like there's enough stuff that we could, it's pretty straightforward. We could make a motion to approve it with the notes. if anyone else doesn't feel that way.
We,
That we could move it to approve with the notes. And then when, he submits, those revisions would be obvious for the city.
I suppose the only thing that I would question is whether or not they need a railing across the front,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
because
And
then
well,
that would make it look quite different.
it would, and something crossed my mind. I know if it was my house and I had a lot of kids, especially if they were small, I would be concerned about even a 30-inch drop.
Yeah, we can't even be out of the ground that far because of the elevations of the left and right neighbors. So we'll be less than 30 inches.
Yeah, okay. I was thinking that whoever is interested in that might
Yeah.
consider that a
They've got a
safety
couple-
issue for like their children and
Yeah.
pets and stuff.
They have a couple 2-year-old kids. So.
Yeah, I mean, I would. So I don't know if we could,
Can we,
can we read it into the motion as an option to add railings or?
or
what-
they need to be approved or something? You know what I mean? Like, we would assume there are no railings and then, or something like that. I don't know.
But we don't want railings.
Yeah, because he doesn't want them, so we assume there's no
Right,
railings.
well, they're not on the plans, and I would guess that if you ended up having to add them, then you'd have to,
Come back.
come back.
Okay,
Right, you'd have
All
to
right.
have an approval from you all.
Yeah,
yeah, then I guess that works for me then.
Okay.
That's-
all right. So it looks like the adjustment of the grade, returning the bricks on the two sides.
How do we address the painting of the brick?
I just maybe indicate as a material note that the brick will not be painted or the brick will be naturally colored and not painted.
Natural finish, yeah.
Yeah,
Natural finish.
yeah. And then we whitening the
Then they'll
steps.
paint it.
Widening the steps between the piers. If you're good with all those things, Roger, sounds
Yes.
like
Yeah,
we can make a motion on those and move it to get you approved. So with that, may I have a motion on 224 Oak Tree Drive?
Make a motion to approve 224 Oak Tree Drive with the following clarifications. The front stair will be widened to meet the piers. The face brick that is noted as white will not be painted, but will be a natural brick color that is white in tone. And the brick return at the garage will wrap the corner and die at the inside corner on the other side of the garage. The brick on the left-hand side will go down to grade and will also wrap the corner approximately 2 feet.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? All right, Roger, you're approved.
all right, thank you all.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Have a good night.
Too, thank you.
All right, next on our list, we have 820 Marshall Avenue.
How you guys doing? I'm
Great.
Tim Dolan,
you
a
Tim?
resident and owner and builder of 820 Marshall.
Oh, nice. Well, welcome, Tim. I think we had a couple questions about windows, maybe. Did you consider any on the left and the rear?
Yeah, so, and I previewed your comments before, and I appreciate those. So I had talked to the architect, and so when you're looking at the front house, the left side, there's an opportunity to add a window to that like home management or second office.
Yeah.
I think we would do that. My architect wanted to add one to the kitchen there at the bottom
Yeah.
of the stairs, but I think it'd probably be best served just because there's a lot of kitchen cabinet space there. So I'd like to not break that up. There's already going to be windows left and right of the range and hood. So I think we would add one to that.
Okay. In
Certainly.
the office.
Yeah. So the office would add to the office.
Okay.
And then you also had one about the master closet on the second floor in the rear elevation.
Question.
The different municipalities have different, views on non-public facades and things like that. It's gonna get covered up with clothes, but if that's what it takes to have you guys approve it, then,
Well, it's also nice too to have natural light in there, so you don't necessarily have to turn on a light every time you go in there and you can match colors better in natural light.
certainly,
Yeah.
certainly, yeah.
Yeah, and you could do obscure glass, that way you don't have.
Yeah, I think it's just, it's basically, when it's a large master closet, so there's gonna be a closet system in there. There'll be clothes hanging in front of it and things
Sure.
like that. So it's one of those things where, it's not it's a closet and it's also not on a front elevation, really
Right.
public elevation. So,
Mhm.
And I also saw your comments about the columns in the rear, I believe, which you guys
Yeah,
went.
the
Yeah,
size.
I think that those should probably be a 6 inch at minimum. So if they were drawn anything less than that, that was an error.
Yeah, I think they are 6
They
inch
are
now.
They are 6? Okay, I
and-
guess they just look funny on the drawing.
Look,
so.
'cause
Yeah,
they're
they
tall.
still look skinny though. I was thinking maybe go to 8x8 to match the front.
Okay, yeah, we can do
That
8
way
by 8.
they're a little bit more.
Yeah, because
scale.
they're actually taller than the front porch already. so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because of the height.
Yeah.
If they're 8x8 on the rear, that would match the front.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. I mean, honestly, I think with the closet window thing, I'm just looking back at it, I mean, it could be a small window,
Yeah,
high
high,
window, a transom window.
Okay, I think
Um,
transom would be okay. I think that
Yeah,
probably work
I
better,
mean,
yeah.
That way, it's not interfering with your closet system.
Yeah, and somebody can, if they want to put a dresser in there, they can fit it underneath the window, and
Right.
things like that. That would be okay. Thank you.
And then it just helps break up that facade a bit. I think, the comment came from two sides, inside and out, so.
Yeah, yeah, understandable.
So, and I was gonna just point out, I did really appreciate the kitchen windows. And I loved how you guys wove those in there
Mhm.
in open space, so. It's a really nice design overall.
Thank you. That's all. Yeah, I think AJ and Chris did a nice job.
All right, any other comments from the board? With that, we'll add the comments for the two windows and the columns, and you're good. So with that, can I have a motion on 820 Marshall Avenue, please?
Make a motion to approve 820 Marshall Avenue with the addition of a window to the left side in the office. In addition, of a transom window in the master closet in the rear of the home. And then the columns at the rear will be enlarged to an 8x8 size.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? All right, you're approved and good to go.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Good night. All right, I think officially, the meeting is now adjourned. I know we do have a informational only, so we'll stick around. Thanks, everyone else. Have a good night.
Yeah, there's somebody, guest. with their-
Yeah, sorry, have we gotten, did you guys get to 780 Tuxedo? I didn't, I missed
Oh,
that.
yeah, that was pre-approved.
oh, I just didn't get the note. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, that's okay. We did it tonight when we were doing our review at the
Oh, perfect.
beginning, our work session. So sorry you had to hang on there.
No, that's okay. It was interesting anyways.
Okay, great. Well, have a good night.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
You're welcome. Bye.